Hello again, everybody. My name is John DeHealy. I do a podcast. It's called It's Good to Talk. Always have interesting guests on. Today is no exception. I have somebody all the way on from Ireland, from County Mayo. Not alone from County Mayo, from my own village. I'll get to Mr. Tommy Moran in a moment. Do my usual promos. Got into podcasting because I wrote this book for Stoney McGurn during the lockdown. We got it published after a couple of years. Then we had gigs lined up with lockdown we couldn't promote. So here I am promoting it. Now, my main sponsors are Liffey Van Lines. Today, you're going to see them working in the snow. So watch this clip of early morning snow in New York City recently. Another shout out I give is to the IrishExaminerUSA.com. Paddy McCarthy is the owner, editor, and Paddy is a great man. Also, I want to give a shout out to the Mayo Society of New York. The president is Kieran McAndrew, another Glenamoy man, by the way, and the vice president is Maureen Gibbons. That dance is coming up on the 15th of March, and last year was a brilliant dance. The MC actually was from Glenamoy, Michael D. McAndrew. He was MC for the dance. The dance is on the 15th of March. I'm going to let you know where it's been held this year. So it's been held at Leonard Plaza, 555 Northern Boulevard, not too far away. And the band is the McLean Avenue Band. And that's a good night. Tickets are only $125. That's open bar, dinner, everything goes with it. So that's a deal. Now, if you like to get an ad in their journal, good bargains. You get a full page for $100. You get a gold page, no, a silver page for $200. And gold, if you want to go gold, go gold. That'll cost you $300 to get your name in gold. Everyone likes their name in gold, especially people that play the accordion. Now, another shout out for March 16th, the day before Paddy's Day. These two young men will be boxing in Madison Square Garden. Colm Walsh is from Cork in Ireland, and he's up against a Scotch fella. Let me get his name right for you. And his name is Dean Sutherland. He's from Aberdeen. And if you want tickets for that, you can shoot me an email, jh4news@yahoo.com. The sponsors will be on my next podcast, and they're promoting a tequila drink made in Ireland. I didn't think Irish people drank tequila, but I guess any port in the storm, except Rossport. Now, my guest today is Tommy Moran. He is a musician, singer, and all that goes with. Not alone that, he is my cousin. If you don't believe he's my cousin, we have a lot in common. I don't sing, he sings. I talk, I don't sing. He looks handsome. He's a handsome devil. I know I got part of it right. So, Tommy, you're welcome to the podcast. Let's talk music and let's talk. Of course, I know where you're from. You're from Glenamoy, County Mayo. And if we narrow the village down, you're from a place called Milltown, which sounds fancy. And I'm from a village called Gula. Yeah. It's a stone's throw. So tell me about you, because I left Ireland a long time ago when you were whistling before you started singing. So how long have you been singing?
Yeah, thanks, John. It's a pleasure to be on with you today. From Glenamoy to Glenamoy in lovely Mayo. I was really looking forward to this, and we were planning it for a while, you know. Good. And I'm glad it has come to pass now that hopefully our next trip that we'll catch up in New York, that'll be our plan. But, no, I suppose I've been singing, involved in music probably about 40 years, give or take.
Okay.
And then about 25 years this year, myself and my good wife got on the road together more or less by sheer accident. Never planned anything. just happened that way. Started doing a few gigs, people started looking for us, and next thing a couple of people was wondering had we anything recorded or what was the story. Went in, recorded 4 or 5 songs, and a couple of them just took off, and here we are 25 years later with 5 albums done and a couple of videos and the
Good.
usual, you know. And
well, congratulations on that. That is quite an achievement, and especially when it happens like kind of naturally.
yes,
You're not like setting a huge goal. You work hard, obviously, like most people from Mayo, and you do, and you get there little by little, and then it grows, and then before you know it, like myself, I guess with a podcast, you have a following. I mean, I started off with probably one listener, and they said, "What the fuck's he talking about?"
yeah.
But now I have probably 4,000 subscribers, and anyone listening today, if you like the podcast, subscribe.
Yeah.
If you don't like the podcast, switch off and listen to Fox News or some other shit. Whatever your fancy is. You don't have to listen to me, but it's good to talk. So let's get back more to the venues where you started from, and you can name all the venues in case I leave anything out. So some of your first venues are probably local venues, I assume.
Yeah, there were local venues, and I have to say, I suppose, our own Angler's Rest, which you know well, and which the connection is there, would have been one of them going back the years. And we just done New Year's Eve there with Bernie there and Michael, and look, we always have a great night, we can never, you know, and it's always good. We started doing local venues, and then it went further and further to play in Millennium Square in Leeds in the UK there a few years ago, Patrick's Day Parade, to 11,000 people. So
wow, that's nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great to get recognised locally, then to go further afield. And if you're into bigger numbers,
Yes.
you like to see a big audience.
That's right.
Because everybody likes a big audience.
Yeah.
Big audience gives you confidence, I guess.
Yeah.
It's good for your confidence, it's good for your spirit, and it's good for both of you. I know your band is known as the Duets, okay?
That's right.
You and your wife. So that's good, and obviously you work well together.
Yes.
You know, it's not like making love where one says, "I have a headache." Fuck it, man. You got to get with it. There's no way out. You have a gig booked. You know you're going, and I guess it's like old school. You have to, have your equipment to do your sound check.
Yes.
And all of that. I assume.
Yeah, by the way, John, she just couldn't be here today because her mother's just not well at the minute, but she's okay. But she'd been under the weather for the last few days, so she's with her mother these days. So hopefully the next time we'll catch up, we'll be both together.
Oh, yeah. That's not a problem. This time of the year, there's flus and colds and everything going around.
Yes.
Speaking of that, actually, it's kind of interesting. Like for myself, if I get a flu or a cold or sore throat and thing, the gig is up,
Yeah.
One time, 7-8 months ago, I think it was even, the weather was nice, and I had to get my editor to step in and speak, do the podcast,
Yes.
And people said, it was okay, it was good, but it wasn't me, So I understand people want to see you on stage.
Yes.
And want to see your wife on stage. They don't want to see someone stepping in. I mean, that's like St. Monica's Church here in New York City. People go to St. Monica's, go to Mass. I'm not much of a Mass goer, but I hear people complaining. The priest was from Africa. He was black. He couldn't speak English. I mean, what's bothering you? Just go to Mass, say your fucking prayers.
Yes.
Get on your knees. If he's a black guy saying the Mass, it's not like Tommy Morgan singing a song. You want that guy to sing a song. The Mass, just read the Mass, say it.
Yes.
Or stay at home and get it on the radio. Anyway, moving on to you. Tell me about some of your other gigs coming up. Maybe that'll be a good way to start.
Yeah. We have a good few. We have a couple of trips organised to the UK later on this year. We're over there in May. We have we're heading off to County Roscommon next week, and then we're heading off to. We have a couple of local gigs as well. We're trying to get a new bit of material recorded. And hopefully we're going to be doing that in about 2 weeks' time. We've about a half an album finished, and we've another new DVD for another new song. Hopefully that we'll have before the summer as well. So there's always something going on.
Okay. Well, usually around this time, my local singer here is Jimmy Grady. When he started with me first doing this gig, we also do eulogies at funeral homes and that stuff, which it happens. I'm sure you play at funerals yourself. But Jimmy he was 12, now he's 13, still need to be 14. Getting old, His father got an award recently. His father is Jerry Grady from County Clare. His mother is from County Roscommon, Paula Grady. And his father's getting an award from the Emerald Guilds, a huge organisation here in Manhattan. They deal with huge properties, like really high-end properties. and his dad is a building manager, and he's getting an award from the Guild, which is a huge award. And not alone that, Jimmy's father, Jerry, will be leading the St. Patrick's Day Parade on behalf of the Emerald Guild. It's a huge thing. So I'm giving Jimmy the day off today, and Jimmy is happy. He doesn't have to worry about singing today. So I'm going to get you to sing a song, which we have recorded, so you don't need to get your guitar warmed up, and whichever song it is, the edit guy will pick what he likes, and we'll go from there. And that song is kicking off now. So Jimmy, enjoy your holiday today, your school day off. So that's kind of a time to take a sip of tea.
Yes. Yeah, I know you had the kettle boiling there when I was chatting to you earlier, so...
Yeah, so I'll come, so we'll just start.
Ain't it good, babe, you and me? We sail the stormy waters, we calm the angry sea. We knew we could, babe, you and me. Just as long as we have you and me. What more could a man want than a woman there beside him to hold his hand and understand that every day is not the same? Sometimes it's gonna rain. You are my sunshine and I'm your man. And ain't it good, babe, you and me? We sail the stormy waters, we calm the angry sea. We knew we could, babe, you and me. Just as long as we have you and me.
What more could a woman want than a man there beside her through the bad times? We had good times. You've always been a pillow, a shoulder and a friend, and I thank God that you are mine.
Ain't it good, babe, you and me? We sail the stormy waters, we calm the angry sea. We knew we could, babe, you and me. Just as long as we have you and me. Ain't it good, babe, you and me? We sail the stormy waters, we calm the angry sea. We knew we could, babe, you and me. Just as long as we have you and me. Just as long as we have you and me. Just as long as we have you and me.
All right, so we're back after that song, which I kind of like. I did have your album here, Tommy, when I was working in an art gallery up in 270 Ryder Avenue.
All right.
I'm there for another 6 months, and I'm bringing in some more artists that's displaying their art. A lot of the money goes to the Ronald McDonald House for children with cancer. It's a good cause. So I'll be there for another 6 months. If anyone's listening, if you want to buy art or display art. And I have a singer there as well, another singer. And he was an artist. He was on a podcast about 4 weeks ago. His name is Falls Rivers, like Joan Rivers, but Falls like Niagara Falls.
All right.
And he is a singer, musician, plays piano, and number of instruments. So music and art go together. So yes, so 270 Ryder Avenue is where the gallery is, and I was playing your music in the background. You were in good company with Phil Coulter, kind of that type of music for nice quietness as people view the art. So I did have your full album there, and people did comment on it, especially if they haven't heard, if it's new to the ear.
Yes.
They want to know who's that and
Who is
so
it?
on.
Yeah.
I'm sure you get that a lot when you play in gigs, especially probably in England and London and Leeds.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Places like that. They want to know, like, you know, the accent, I guess, maybe
Yeah.
helps. I know it helps here in New York with a lot of people. They say you speak with a different accent. Well, everybody in New York speaks with a different accent because we're all from somewhere else,
Yes.
which is a good thing.
Yeah.
So more about you and the gigs. Where do you record, per se?
Record in Athboy in County Meath.
Okay.
With a very famous, I suppose, he was a very famous member of the Cotton Mill Boys band one time. Charlie Arkins, a great fiddle player.
Okay.
And we recorded a lot of stuff with him and his son up there in Darkin Studios in Athboy in County Meath, and we're
Very good.
hoping to get up there shortly. And
Well, it's good, like, if you have a good relationship with whoever owns the studio,
Yes.
in terms of, like, the time and the space and everything that's to go with it. And, you know, it's like going anything. It's like going to a good restaurant.
that's right.
To quote Alfred Hitchcock, he said, "My favorite restaurant is where they know me and like me, and you feel comfortable." And that goes with music and singing too.
It does.
You want to feel at home, you want to feel comfortable, and then you give it your best, of course. And then in terms of the days gone by, a lot of the old, I won't say old, but a lot of the show bands in Ireland at different times played for me in different venues. The backstories I like Larry Cunningham would always have the Pioneer pen on because he didn't drink. He was a carpenter by trade, by school. He was a carpenter before he was a singer, and he just loved woodwork. And Big Tom played in my venue in, I think it was Glencastle in County Mayo, and he only did one gig there. It was supposed to be his last gig, but he played a few more gigs after that.
Yeah.
And people loved Big Tom. Everyone had like a own symbolic way, and when Big Tom sang Gentle Mother, it was the quiver in his hand, like holding a cup of tea.
Yes.
He would be like that.
Yeah.
So you didn't know if it was from the emotion of the song or maybe just the shakes.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm sure I had Charlie McGettigan on here, and he won the Eurovision, and he was telling me a story about Shea Healy, distant relation of ours too.
Yes.
And when Shea, a year before he died, he got Parkinson's, which is very, very
I actually,
bad.
yes, bringing up Shea there, I caught up with Shea in the Olympia Theatre in Dublin a few years back. He was in good form that time because he had written a play, and I went to see it, and I met him there. It was a great chat with him. Yeah,
he's a very nice person.
he was
Always sense of humor.
Yes.
Always had a sense of humor for everybody. Even in his illness, he had a sense of humor.
He had.
So Shea Healy, indeed, he wrote like What's Another Year? That was about his father's wife dying. It won the Eurovision.
Yes.
And then Johnny Logan went on he was the singer of the song.
Yeah.
And indeed, it is a song contest as opposed to, it's changed a lot down the years. It's got more theatrical and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, do you I know you wouldn't be going to like music sessions like of old where groups get together in a pub and just kind of jam it out because you're a different style.
Yes.
But people that do that, I remember in Ireland, if someone saw a fella walking in with a brand new Bowron and the price tag on it, the Bowron with a price tag on it, everyone in the group would go, "Oh no, please,
yes,
not a Bowron, and not a guy that doesn't know to play a Bowron." Like that's the worst. That's the worst participant you could have coming to a music session. A Bowron that's brand new out of the wrapper and the price tag on it. I'd rather someone playing the spoons,
exactly,
than that. But anyway, we're allowed to be cynical here because we are cousins, of course, and we can take a fault and give a fault.
Yeah.
So interesting to talk to you, Tommy. So another question actually: if someone was to write a song, write it, say if I wrote a song for you, and I gave it to you to sing, and we just discussed maybe how it would rhyme or tone, or maybe it could just be like a monologue. Has anybody ever approached you with anything like that?
Oh yeah, we get new material all the time. Actually, I have a couple of new songs at the minute from people that we're looking at recording and that, and they give you the idea of what they want it to be or want it to sound like. So we try and get as close to that as possible.
Right.
Yeah. And
it has worked in the past. I did a full podcast here on all the Irish poets, and I named my favourites. And my historian friend was on, Brian Layton from Sligo, and he's a good historian. So we went through all of the poets, favourites and that. I guess my least favourite, if I have to be negative about something, was Patrick Kavanagh from Monaghan, because he was very fucking sad and dreary, and everything was raining and depressing. But he wrote a song called Raglan Road. And he gave it to Luke Kelly, because no more than myself, Patrick Kavanagh couldn't sing. But he was smart enough to write the song.
Yeah.
And it was a song about where his girlfriend dumped him on Raglan Road.
On Raglan Road, yeah.
And no wonder she dumped the miserable fucker. Because back then girls of the day thought if you were a poet, you were well off.
You were well off.
When in fact, poets had hardly the price of a pint. As a matter of fact, the likes of Kavanagh would want you or I to buy him a pint
Yeah.
just for listening to his bullshit. And anyways, he had to give the song to Luke Kelly, and the song turned out to be a hit for Luke Kelly. On Raglan Road on Easter Morn is a good ballad.
Yeah.
But only Luke Kelly, I think, could make it work for Patrick Kavanagh.
Yeah. If you get the feel,
the song appeals to a different.
Yeah.
So if someone could give you a song and you could make it work, or maybe you might say, not my thing, or maybe you might put a different slant on it.
Yeah.
You might say, okay, it should be up a beat or down a beat.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay,
yeah,
and all that.
We get material all the time from people, and you nearly know after 5 minutes whether this is going to be what you're looking for. You get a feel for it, like.
Yeah.
Without
you do.
Yeah.
And sometimes the simple ones work.
Very simple. We had the pleasure of playing support to Big Tom on one of his last tours.
Okay, good.
And we happened to be sitting in the dressing room after the show was over, and I said to him, Tom, after 50 odd years, what's the secret? And I have to say, the answer he gave me was just something else. He said, you need to be singing the songs that the postman is whistling.
I love that.
Yeah, he said, if you hear the postman whistling your songs, you're on to something.
Yeah, that's good.
It was a simple answer, but it was a true answer.
Oh, of course, it's like certain songs stick in people's minds, and then they're it's like listeners of mine, like Pat Burke is a whistler. His wife listens to my podcast.
Yeah,
and they're sleeping in bed, and Pat's trying to read a book. His wife is listening to my podcast. One time in the middle of a podcast, I was talking about politics. I called Maggie Thatcher a cunt. And Pat Burke, he said, what are you laughing at? And she said, I'm laughing at Sean Healy. He just called Maggie Thatcher a cunt. Can you believe that? Pat Burke said, yeah, I can believe it. I'm trying to read a book, okay? Leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
So, leave me alone, yeah. He's quit some. So different people, they have their own, some like tea, some like coffee.
Yes.
And Big Tom is right.
Yeah.
If the postman likes your song and he's whistling it,
yes,
he's meeting a lot of people.
Exactly. That's exactly what he meant. I thought it was a simple answer, but a great answer.
I like it. I could borrow it because, it's good to talk, and people like this podcast. They can subscribe. That's what I say. If you like it, it's good. Always good to talk.
Yeah.
So any other venues locally? Have you been over in Killala, Lacken area recently?
I haven't. Ballina, I suppose, would have been like we do a great dance there on the Tuesday night in the Great National Hotel in Ballina. We were talking about, I said, I must get on to Michael D. We got to get over to coming there to the...
to Bessie's bar.
To Bessie's, yeah.
Yeah, Michael D., the sports journalist from Midwest, he was on this podcast over 2 years ago.
Yes, I actually looked at that one.
Yeah, we just talked about sports because that's his thing, sports.
Yes.
He's very good and professional, if I may say so. He's good at what he does.
He is.
It's totally different. Like broadcasting is different from podcasting. But he's pretty all-rounded, which is good for him, and he deserves it too, because he puts the effort in, and he does what he does it well.
Yes.
And that's nice to see.
Yeah,
good for him. Now, let's see, have we covered anything else? In terms of you selling your music, do you bring music to the gigs to sell?
Yes. We always have our albums with us to sell at gigs, and I have to say that Irish people there's something about them, because we go to London there, it's like something from home. They really come out to support you, and they really are looking forward to have you any new album or new song or whatever the case may be, and they're great. Like, even though I have to say, Ireland has been very good to us for the past 20 years.
Right.
And we opened up a new kind of a following in the UK, more or less. Didn't mean to do it by accident. We went to do a gig in Leeds Irish Centre going back. A Sligo man by the name of Eddie Lavelle, actually, they took us over there to do the Mayo Association dance in the Leeds Irish Centre, and that opened up the UK for us. We just absolutely, gigs came from every side of the UK, from London to Birmingham to Leeds to Manchester, the whole thing. So, and now we've been doing it 17 odd years.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's good that they have a Mayo Society and all the different societies in London, New York, as I said. Their big one is coming up March 15th,
Yes.
And the president and the vice president are excited about it, and I'm sure they'll drown the Shamrock. And
of course. Yeah.
Of course, they'll celebrate it.
He celebrated, yeah.
Actually, Maureen Gibbons is the vice president and her sister will be the Mayo Woman of the Year this year coming.
Oh,
And I had James Prendergast on here on the last podcast, and I asked him where he met his wife, and he named a venue called the Archway Tavern. It's in the Bronx. And as soon as he mentioned the Archway Tavern, I was able to tell him without ever seeing him or meeting. I only met him on the podcast. I said, I bet you're good at jiving. He said, how do you know? He said, how do you know that? I said, if you mention the Archway Tavern,
yeah.
you are someone that likes to be on the floor jiving to good music. And he said, yeah. And he wasn't modest about it. He said, yes, I'm a very good jiver. He didn't shy back.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I didn't want to say, well, I'm average. Then I did some research on the Woman of the Year this year, Siobhan Gibbons McEntee. Her husband is from Sligo, I think, or maybe Monaghan. And she does what's known as the turkey trot every Thanksgiving. Now, it's not a dance.
Right.
I can do the foxtrot, which is the slow waltz.
Yeah.
But Siobhan does the turkey trot, which is a short race for women. I know there's issues with hens at the moment, both in Ireland and here, but the Mayo women here have no such issues. So foxtrot or turkey trot, leave it to the Gibbons girls from Aspet.
Right.
So foxtrot, and I'm sure they can jive as well. So the Mayo dance will be special this year.
Yeah.
So that's enough of slagging about the Mayo people from Aspet.
Well, maybe in time to come that we'd organise a trip to New York when
Oh,
that's
I'd be
on.
more than welcome, yeah.
Yeah, and would be lovely to get there and to attend the whole thing and just
Yeah, if you were to set it up for any time in the March time, like I need to give a shout out now to Midwest Radio. They're coming over the first week in April, and they'll be in Connolly's Bar.
I believe
downtown
so.
there
Yeah.
With the I know so that I was told to mention it in Connolly's Bar down in Midtown, and that's the first weekend of April. And I think they're bringing Michael D himself,
Yeah.
Jerry Glennon, and Paul Claffey. I mean, I know Paul Claffey in Mayo is like what Dolly Parton is to America.
That's right.
Everybody loves Dolly
Yeah.
Parton in America. Everybody loves Paul Claffey in Mayo. I was told to say that. Michael D told me to say that.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So
I have to say, going back to Midwest there, Midwest has been great to us for the past 20 odd years, you know. Ah, yeah.
Everything they do is done to perfection.
Yes.
I said it one time to Michael D, like, when I die, I want them to announce it on the death notices. Like everybody, when they do the death notices, everybody that dies, they say they died peacefully.
Yeah.
They said the mass was in the church, wherever the church was, and they were buried in the adjoining cemetery. I mean, it couldn't be more fucking simple. It makes dying like a pleasure, man, you know?
It does.
It makes it look like you're looking forward to it. And then whoever is announcing the death notices on Midwest Radio, they say it with such somber farewell. It's like a friend leaving you at the airport and saying, you know, it's not bad. You'll have a good trip
You
and
know.
enjoy the vacation. That's my view of Midwest, the death notices. And I'm not mocking them. They're necessary.
I know.
But some people don't want to read a paper anymore. They want everything like instant gratification. They'll turn on Midwest Radio just to find out who died.
That's right. Exactly.
There's more news on Midwest than just the death notices.
Yeah.
It's good too. So Tommy, we're going to wrap it up. Now, if somebody here in New York wanted to buy your new DVD or CDs or
Yeah.
your old ones too, is there any way they can purchase them online?
Yeah, well, actually, I'd say if they drop me an email, I'm sure to be able to organise. If you drop me an email
Okay.
at tommymorden94gmail.com, we'll be able to organise to get the album to them, you know?
All right. And if they have difficulty getting you, my email is up every week, jhfornews@yahoo.com. And if people want to leave comments, when this podcast is just done, there's a place for comments underneath.
Yeah,
So people can put in their comments there about music, or if they want to mention their favourite songs, or if they met you in person, whether it's London or
yes,
Mayo. It's always good to get some feedback from people like that, because I know other singers, people put in comments, of course. Charlie McGettigan winning the Eurovision. And Charlie is a broadcaster now himself. I believe he does a radio programme on Shannonside.
Shannonside, yes.
Yes, okay. And would you believe it, another lady was on from County Mayo, and that was Mildred Byrne.
Oh, I know
She's
Mildred very well, actually.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
Mildred is like the Holy Spirit. She's everywhere. So she's a dance and school teacher, and she was on here to explain. She was actually a member of the first girls' band ever before it was Well, it was always girls. Before there was a girls, all girls bands.
Yes.
Okay. I'm getting like Joe Biden now here. I'm mumbling. In any event, I think that's all we have to talk about, Tommy, today. Until next time we meet.
Yes. Well, John, it's
So I sign off usually in my Irish language.
Yeah.
Because was my first language, and now I speak better English than the Queen of England. So easy for me because the Queen is dead.
Yeah.
And I say slán, which means goodbye.
Yeah.
Slán go fóill, Beis Scéal means we have a story. Agus Beis Scéal means we'll have another story.
Yes.
But it's always a story.
Well,
So I'm going to say slán to you.
it's been a great pleasure, John, to be on with you. And I want to say hello to all our connections in New York. And
Oh, yeah.
with the help of God, we will make a trip and get out there and have a couple of gigs, and we will have a bit of a tour of New York and whatever.
Oh, we'll set that up for you, yeah.
We will.
The Mayo Society will look forward. That's what they do. They welcome people
Yes.
and they help them get gigs, whether it's playing hurling or playing football, camogie or whatever, or a gig like a music gig.
Yeah.
So,
And I know that I just want to say hello to mention your sister Rosie there, and to the Irvins, Marie and Danny Russellman there, and all them crew, and Betty McLaughlin, of course. With Betty was trying to get us out there, so Betty, I promise you, we will try and make a trip.
yeah. Well, Betty is a long-time member of the Mayo Society of New York, and she's, as I say, she's going strong.
And yes,
I
and
met
I
her
know
on last St. Patrick's.
another Glenamoy man out there, Pat O'Boyle, Eileen O'Boyle, and
Yes.
another great buddy of ours there is Feely Tahar. Feely's out there.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and there's
And McDonald, yeah.
that's right. All them people that we
There's
know.
so many. That's why I never want to go back to Glenamoy, because I know more people here than I do in Glenamoy.
I know.
People in Glenamoy wouldn't know me because now I'm an old fella. Anyways, we sign off on the Ode to Joy, which is the European National Anthem. Tommy, thank you, and Slán Abhaile.
Cheers, John. Thank you. And we're looking forward to catch up in New York.